here for general basic iDig training. The topics that we're going to cover today is a general overview of iDig and the main tools to the application. I'll point you in the directions to where you can set up some specific user features, how to access the knowledge base. Then we'll go over the basic navigational tools that you need to be able to set up reports, setting up your dimensions and your time periods, and then how you can work with those reports in the View Reports area of iDig and all of the administrative things that you can do there. We'll take a look at the dashboard, and then we'll take a look at the GeoView tool, and also a quick look at the search function. So that's what we're going to cover today, and again, my main goal is to give you the basic navigational tools that you need to go ahead and get started so that you can go and work with iDig on your own. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to switch gears, and we'll go through iDig. So let me get over to that screen, and you guys should now see my sign on to iDig and my cursor moving around. If you do not, just give me a shout and let me know. So let's just start with what is iDig. iDig is a sales, distribution, and operations reporting tool. It is a website. It's not some sort of complicated software program that you need to know. You need to be a programmer to know how to use or anything. iDig is a website. It might be like any other website that you visit on the internet. So for example, if any of you do any online banking or you view your retirement accounts, any statements there, when you sign into that website, you sign in using a secure username and password, and then you're able to look at different views of your information, your bank account, your statements, etc., by date range or whatever that you want to look at. That's essentially what the iDig application is. iDig is a website. There's the web address for it. When you go to that address, it asks you for your username and password. You enter that information, and then you get into an interface that looks just like this. We've designed iDig to be very user-friendly, point and click, drag and drop, that kind of stuff. A lot of the tools and the icons within the application, when you hover over them, will tell you what that icon or report name or report what it does for you. So we offer a lot of help along the way while you're working in the application. Because iDig is a website, what that means to you guys is that you can get to iDig 24/7 as long as you have a device that can get you to the internet, and that device has an internet connection. So when I say device, I mean your traditional desktop computer, a laptop, an iPad, a tablet. All of those things have a browser on them. You enter the web address for iDig in that browser, and you can use iDig on those devices 24/7. So you always will have access to your sales information if you need it. The other part of iDig is the mobile version, or what we call VIP mobile, that you can use on your iPhone. That is free. It is called VIP Mobile. If you haven't installed this, I highly encourage you to do that, because what you can get access to on that app is anything that you will create within the iDig web version for your dashboard. So I'm going to talk about that today, a little bit in detail today, but when you think about iDig, you think about it as iDig over the web using a browser, like I'm doing today, and then you have iDig Mobile using the VIP mobile app from the App Store on your iPhone. And what you have access to via that app is kind of a truncated view of what you see using the full web version. And specifically, you have access to any dashboard reports that you create. That's what you'll see in the app that you can work with. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more today. When you first log into iDig, up in the upper right-hand corner, it'll give you your name. Below, it will give today's date. Notice that the data is through November the 20th. That's because that's what I use for training and demo purposes. So we're going to pretend that today is November 21st. You can hide that information, as well as hiding your favorites area. And we'll talk a little bit about that later today. But notice when I do that, it gives me more room to work with and create my reports. There are 5 main tools to the application right here at the top. From left to right, Report Builder. This is the main screen that you will see when you log into iDig. You have all sorts of different categories of report types, and then different reports within those different types and categories. Many of you may or may not see all of the reports that you see here on my sign-on to iDig. You can see that a couple that we're still working on internally, but also the reports that you have access to really depend upon the version of the VIP beverage system that you're running. Additionally, some of the features of the VIP beverage system that you may be utilizing, and also any sort of access that you have been given specifically by your company. So you may or may not see some reports just based on the access that you've been given. So you'll see a lot of here that on my screen that you may not see on yours. Also, I'm not going to be running an example of every single one of these reports today because we would be here until tomorrow. Again, my main focus will be on teaching you the main navigational tips that you'll need to go about creating any of these reports and working with them. So the report builder is the first main tool, and this is the main screen where you pick your reports and create them. Once you've created a report here in Report Builder and you run the report, it opens in the second main tool to iDig, which is called View Reports. And here, when you have a report open in this area, View Reports, you'll have all sorts of administrative tasks that you can perform on your report, such as printing, emailing, exporting, mapping, graphing, saving, editing, drilling down. All of those things will happen here in the View Reports area, and we'll look at all of those here today. The third main tool to iDig is your dashboard. Again, dashboard is a place to put very high key level business type reports, kind of a 30,000-foot view of your business. When you click dashboard, you'll get a sense every single day, what's going on with my business. Any reports that you put on your dashboard, you can then drill into and get more detail. So these should be very high level business reports that you create for your dashboard. The fourth main tool to iDig is GeoView. This is a really neat feature that allows you to map your sales trends at the brand level using Google Maps. And the fifth and final main tool is the search function that allows you to get quick month-to-date and year-to-date sales information for any aspect of your business, whether that be an item or an account or a chain or a sales rep. You just key in what you're looking for, click that magnifying glass, and iDig will bring up what it is, whatever it is that you're searching for. So those are your five main tools. This icon right here may be a familiar icon to you. It's an icon that is not specific to iDig. You may find this on other websites, for example, Facebook. This indicates an icon that allows you to set user profile preferences, so specific to you as the user. I highly encourage you to check out this area of iDig because there's some features that allows you to get iDig set up in a way that you're going to use it most efficiently for you as the user. And any changes that you make under these options that are available to you only apply to you as the user. It will not affect everybody else in your organization who also has iDig. It's just going to be specific to you and your sign-on. The Help button right underneath your login name, which is your email address. When you click Help, it'll bring you to the VIP iDig knowledge base. And this contains a lot of information about what things mean, how to do things. You can just click on the topics, and it will expand and give you information about the topic that you're looking for. You can also search the entire knowledge base. I highly encourage you to check things out here if you have a question about what something is or what it means or how to do something, because oftentimes you'll find the answer here in the help text. But also, since I have this open, I do want to point out that we do have step-by-step videos and our webinar demonstrations in the help text as well. So there may be a particular topic that you would want to learn more about, like working with dashboard, and there's some videos about that. And they're very short, content-specific videos, 5, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at most, that allow you to get some quick learning about some particular aspect of iDig if you need to. So I highly encourage you to check out these webinars as well. So that's the help text. So that's a little bit about the layout and some administrative things regarding iDig. What I'd like to do now is come over here, start with Report Builder, and show you the main steps to creating a report in types and the different reports that fall within those categories, it doesn't matter which report I click to start here. It doesn't really matter which report I show you, what I'm about to show you, because every single report here is created in essentially the same way. There are two main components to creating any one of these reports. You need to choose the dimensions that you want in the report, and you need to choose and set up the time periods for the specific report that you're working with. So I'm going to demonstrate those two components utilizing the comparison report here under sales reports. So when I click comparison, notice we're still in the report builder area, and here we're going to walk through creating a report. And all these things I'm about to show you, all these steps, will be the same steps that you'll go through to create essentially any report in iDig. Again, those two components, choose your dimensions, which you do over here, and then set up your time periods, which you'll do over here. So let's talk about adding your dimensions. The report example that I'll do for us here today is that I want to show accounts that belong to a group of market types who have bought some specific brands, and I want to break that out by sales rep. Okay? So when you go to add your dimensions, you do not need to add them in any particular order. You don't need to overthink the creation part process of setting up your report, because you have the ability to rearrange the dimensions in any order before you run the report. When you click Add a Dimension, you'll notice that you get this Dimension Viewer box. The dimensions are broken out by nicely categories here: account related, product related, and employee related. So one of the dimensions I mentioned was market type. So I'm going to grab market type from the account list, and notice that iDig adds the dimension as a visible dimension. I want to narrow this report down to some specific market types. I don't want all. If I wanted all, I would be done. I could view this report and get all market types done. But I want to narrow this report down to look at only some specific market types. I do that by clicking the link, Select Market Types link. When I click that, up comes this filtering window. And this filtering window will be the exact same window that you will see regardless of the dimension that you filter to, except the content will be specific to the dimension you are filtering on. So I could have clicked sales rep or select items or select chains. This exact window would open up, and then the content within it would be specific to the dimension I'm filtering to. There are 4 best practices that I want to teach you in this window. Number 1 is to always utilize the search function to find what you want in the quickest way possible. So I type in some characters. I'm looking for gas and convenience market type. When I type in CONV and search, this is what iDig brings up. If I want that, I put a check mark in front of it. Then I go back to my search function to find the next market type that I want. I type in the word bar. There are 2 market types with the word bar in it. I actually want both of those, so I'm going to select both. I come back to search, and I want the restaurant market type. So I just type in the word rest, and I click search, and notice I get that market type. So I'm just using this quickly. This is the best, quickest way to get what you need in your report when you're filtering. Now, this leads me to best practice number 2. How do you know that you've put check marks and selected exactly what you want to filter on? Because I only see the last one that I just selected. Down here, you click Show Selected Only, and you'll see all of the market types that I have put check marks in front of. So you can confirm everything that you've got. If you've checked something by mistake, uncheck it. If you need to go add something else, you go back to search and search for it and add it to your list. Best practice number 3 is down here, saving groups of things as selection sets. So selection sets in iDig are groups of things that you may regularly run your reports by. So when I think about all the reports that I create, often I'm running reports that contain these 4 market types. So I'm going to save myself some time and save this group as a selection set just by clicking on that link. It allows me to name that set here, and I'm going to just call it Key Markets or My Key Markets. Like so, and I save that. The next time when I come into iDig and I want to run a report utilizing those 4 market types, I don't need to go through this exercise of searching individually for them and selecting them like I just did. When I open up this filter window by clicking Select Market Types, I can go straight to my link up the top, Your Selection Set, and there will be the selection set that I just created. You can have multiple different selection sets for every single dimension that you have in iDig. So that'll save me time. And then best practice number 4 is to exclude by. So if I were interested in running this report for every other market type except these 4, it would take me less time to put check marks in front of what I didn't want and click the exclude button than to go through and put check marks in front of those 20 or 30 other market types that I did want. So those are 4 best practices that save you time. Number 1, and I'll just recap them. Number 1, always use search to find what you want quickly to select them. Use the show selected only to confirm that you have everything from the dimension that you want to filter to. Best practice number 3 is saving selection sets or groups of things that you regularly run your reports by. And then best practice number 4 is the exclude option. I want my report to be focused on those 4 market types, so I'm going to go ahead and click select. I'm going to then go and add my next dimension. I said I wanted to break this report out by the account, so I'm just going to look for a retail account and add that as my next dimension. Notice that becomes my next full dimension. There are a couple things I want to stop and point out here. Notice that the retail account has an additional options window. When you open that up, it allows you to select certain features or aspects of the retail account that you may want to include. Check what you want and it will get added to the report. Also, there's this very powerful feature within iDig that allows you to show or not show the detail of a dimension in your report. So when you guys are looking at this report, you see market type and retail account. So basically, if I were to run the report right now, it's going to break out every single one of the 4 market types that I selected and show me the retail accounts that belong to those market types. And I'm going to get a subtotal at each of the market type breaks in the report. But what is my main goal of running this report was to, in fact, to get accounts that belong to these market types, but I don't really need to know what accounts belong to what market type, and I don't need a subtotal at the market type level. I just want to make sure that the retail accounts that come into the report belong to these market types. Over here, when you hover over the check mark in this box, notice it says show details. If I uncheck this box, notice that the market type dimension goes away. The report is still filtered to market type and specifically these 4. But when I run the report, I'm not going to get market type levels broken out detail. I'm just going to get the accounts that belong to all those market types. This is a very powerful feature in iDig. It changes how the report runs and sorts. And also, how many columns of visible data that you see. So if you don't need a particular dimension, just simply uncheck it and it doesn't get shown in your report. You can do that on any of the dimensions that you choose to include in your report. Let's go add the next dimension. The next dimension I want to add is sales rep. I said I wanted to break the report out by sales rep, so I come over here and grab sales rep. And notice iDig has added sales rep to the right of retail account. That's fine. However, I want to group all of the retail accounts that belong to the same rep together. So essentially, I need these 2 dimensions rearranged. So remember how I said that you could choose your dimensions in any particular order, and then you can rearrange them before you actually run the report? Well, here's an example of that. Over here is an icon that when you hover over it, it kind of looks like a domino. It says drag and drop. If I click it and drag and drop into that yellow area above retail account, notice that sales rep becomes first and retail account is now second. So it's going to break out each individual sales rep by retail account. Okay? So then let's add my next dimension. I want to add brand level detail. I said I wanted to show these retail accounts that purchase some specific brands. When I click select brands, Up comes the filtering window, so we've seen this already. So this is my filtering window, and you've got those 4 best practices still in this window, but we've learned that we want to search for what we want in the quickest way possible. So I type in the characters of my brands that I'm looking for, one by one, and I go ahead and add them and select them to the report. Like so. Notice iDig is a smart search, so that gave me too many. I could narrow it down, like so, if I want to. Searching and selecting. Now my report is going to look at these 3 specific brands. Just like on the dimension of market type, I can either show or not show the detail of brand level information by unchecking this box. When I uncheck the box, the report will total all 3 brand sales combined by retail account, but it won't break them out. If I want to see a row for each individual brand and what each retail account bought of each of those brands, I would put a check mark in the box, like so. A very powerful feature to showing or not showing the details in your report. So this step-by-step process that I've just walked us through, choosing your dimensions to include in your report, will be the same process that you'll go through regardless of the report that you start with in Report Builder. One note about dimensions is that you can show up to 4 visible dimensions in your report. So if I were to add show market type right here, notice iDig gives me a reminder, you may show details for up to 4 dimensions. So that would be my 4th dimension. However, I could keep adding dimensions up to 9 different dimensions that I could potentially filter the report to. Like I could filter to just supervisor, or one of the premise types, or one of the industry volume codes. I can add additional filters, but I'm only going to be able to see 4 visible dimensions. I actually want to uncheck that because I don't really want the report to be broken out by that when I run it. So that's the same process, choosing your dimensions, that you'll go through for every report that you create out of Report Builder. The next part to setting up a report is setting up the time periods of your report. And I'm choosing to demonstrate these steps for you using the comparison report. The concepts I show you now will be the same concepts that you'll use for any of the reports from Report Builder. However, let's just talk about the nature of the comparison report by default. The comparison report defaults to a traditional month-to-date and year-to-date comparison this year versus last year. And then it automatically calculates the difference and the trend between the time periods. Month-to-date this year, last year, difference trend, year-to-date this year, last year, difference and trend. So the comparison report takes chunks of time and compares to other chunks of time. You can also add a 3rd comparison time period to the comparison report. The thing to note is, and you've probably noticed, that when I hover over these time periods, I get an option to edit them or delete them. So just because this comparison report starts as a month-to-date, year-to-date report, doesn't mean it has to even stay that way. We can edit this and make it anything that we want. We could delete a time period if we don't need it, like if we just wanted a month-to-date report and this was just unneeded information, just delete it. So let's take a look. Let's edit this time period. When we edit the time period, notice we get this area over here called Set Up Your Time Periods, and there are 3 tabs that apply. Let's talk about each of the tabs. On the Options tab is where you specify the period that you want, how many of the period that you want, the comparison method. So this year versus last year, right now it's using the actual selling days by default. So it's taking my current sales so far this month, November, versus last year, November, and giving me the difference in the trend. But there are different other comparison options, and you can see that from the drop down. If you have any questions about what any of these different methods mean, don't forget, anytime you see a question mark link, it takes you to definitions or the help text about that particular thing that you're hovered over. So here it says click for method definitions, and it would take you to explanations about what those different methods mean. When you're setting up your time periods, you can specify a through date, and then down here you can also specify your measure that you're looking at. Notice Casey Quiz is highlighted and it says Casey Quiz here in the column. If I click unit sold, notice it will change to unit sold. And also notice that it didn't change anything over here. Each of these time periods in your report are separate and distinct. So you can edit them and make them completely different from each other. So any changes you make to one won't affect the other, just like I just did. The other thing you can do with measures, and there's a little hint above the section here, it says Control-click to select multiple measures. So if you were interested in having month-to-date this year versus last year's sales with units sold and gross dollars, you hold down your Control key and select gross dollars. Now units and gross are side by side. Okay? I'm just going to leave it at case equipped. Let's come back up here because there are many different period options that you can use. We have predetermined time periods already set up and ready to go for you. They include year, month, day, week, quarter, trimester, custom, or a day of week option, which is available in the historical comparison report. So you can pick any of these different time periods. Let's say I pick period of a week. And notice that iDig changes the column heading to a week, and also within it, it gives me the date range that the week applies to. Let's say I make this not 1 week, but I say make it 5 weeks. So I'm looking to compare a 5-week chunk of time. There's my 5 weeks through November the 20th. Using the actual selling days, it's comparing to last year's 5 weeks with a difference in the trend. Let's make a different comparison method. Let's say I want to compare this 5 weeks to the previous 5 weeks. So not last year's same 5 weeks, but 5 weeks prior to this. There's an option called previous period, and I can change that like so. So I've got 5 weeks versus the previous 5 weeks. Maybe I actually want 5 weeks, but not through November 20th. I'm actually looking for a different date. So I can use my calendar drop down here to pick a completely different month, let's say maybe September, and then I can click on the calendar dates and pick a different day altogether, September 12th. So now I've got a 5-week report through September the 12th versus the previous 5 weeks to this 5 weeks. Notice it automatically calculated it, and it gave me the difference, and it will give me the trend. So you have all of this different flexibility to change up your report. Additionally, under the Columns tab, you can hide columns that you don't need. So for instance, if you came into iDig and you said, I just want a 5-week report with this date range, I don't want to compare it to anything, so these 3 columns are really taking up visual space or noise in the report that I don't need. Go to your Columns tab and uncheck those columns. And you'll be left with only what it is that you need. If you want those columns of information, you can certainly put them back. So let's go back to the Options tab. I'm actually going to bring this report back to my current selling day of November so that when I go to run it later and save it, it will, I want it to, going forward, I want it to be actual saved so it goes through my current selling, my most recent current selling day. So that's setting up this time period. Watch what happens when we do the next time period. Exact same thing. We click Edit. Notice we get the exact same set of your time periods area. The period that it's defaulting to is year, because that's what this section was defaulting to. But we have the exact same options to edit our report by. So maybe we make this one month. Maybe we want it to be a 2-month period of time, so October through my current selling day of November. Maybe I want to compare these 2 months, my current 2 months, versus the full 2 months of last year. So not the actual selling days method, but the full 2 months. So I'm going to use the full month method, and it's going to take and give me sales in this column for the full 2 months, all of October and all of November. And it's going to compare to my current 2 months and where I'm falling in November so far. It will calculate the difference in the trend. But the same options apply. Choosing your measures, showing or not showing certain columns, exact same options. So with regards to these time periods, like I've mentioned so far, want to affect a change across all time periods in your report at once, specifically to the through dates or the measures, you can do that utilizing the All Periods tab. And it doesn't matter which period that you're editing from. You can edit from any period, this one, and click the All Periods, or that one, click the All Periods. It will apply to the entire report. When you utilize the All Periods tab, you can specify the through date that you want your reports to go through, as well as the different measures. And it will change all time periods at once. Watch if I change this to units sold. Notice that one click changed both time periods. I didn't have to set them individually. Bring it back to case equipped. It'll affect both across the board. So that's a quick way to change all time periods in your report if you so desire. So those are your main steps to setting up and creating your reports from iDig. Number one, choose your dimensions. Number two, set up your time periods for the report that you're working with. Those are your two main components. We are now ready to view the report. So up until this point, we did all of those steps in creating the report in the report builder area. When we run the report, it now opens into the view reports area, the second main tool to iDig. And notice the parentheses with the 1 in it. When you have a report open in the view reports area, you will have a toolbar at the top with all sorts of administrative tasks that you can perform on these reports. And I'm going to walk through every single one of them from left to right here today. This icon allows you to print your report. So notice when you hover over it, it says print report. Click it, pick the printer at your location where you want to print, and off it goes. This icon right now is grayed out, meaning it's not functional. So I'll come back to that one once we have drilled into the report. So that's kind of a little bit of a hint there for you that that has to do with drilling. We'll come back to that. The export button allows you to export your report from iDig into one of 4 different formats: an Excel spreadsheet, a couple of PDF options, and a raw data option, which also is Excel, but it goes into a CSV format. So if any of you are data analysts or you work with pivot tables at all, that raw data option will be your best option for working with your data in iDig or from iDig. These 4 exporting options are also available as emailing options. So back up here on your toolbar, the envelope icon allows you to email directly from iDig. The first time that you ever send to somebody new from iDig, you'll need to enter their email address. I highly encourage you to blind copy yourself because iDig maintains its own address book, its own little email system. iDig doesn't utilize your specific email application, whatever your company uses. iDig maintains its own. So send it to yourself so you have a copy of what you sent to somebody. Type in a subject, choose the format that you want to send. You can choose all of these if you wanted to in one email. Just select what you want. Type your message and send the report. Once you have sent to somebody out of iDig once, their email address will be stored for you in your iDig email address book, which you will find the next time you email to anybody by clicking the to, the CC, or the BCC link. When you click that, it opens up your iDig address book and shows you all of the email addresses that you have. So the next time you need somebody, you just can simply check mark their name, and it will automatically populate their email address in the address bar, quickly and easily. So that's a bit about emailing from iDig. The next icon is the saving report icon. This is a very powerful and very time saver option in iDig. Saving reports that you plan to use on a regular basis, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, no matter what, save the report so that you then have it as available to single click and update whenever you need it. So you give the report a name. I'm just going to name this report like such. You will need to select a folder to put your report into. These are folders that I already have created for my sign-on to iDig. If you've never saved a report, to do. So add a new folder, create the folder name. Let's say I call this training report. And I save that report. So where did the report go? Coming over here to my show reports link, show your reports. When I open that up, these are all of my folders with the individual reports that I have previously saved. And down here is the new folder that I just created and this report that I just saved to it. So how does this save time? What this allows you to do is the next time you come into iDig, whether that's tomorrow or next week or whatever, and you want to run this report, you do not need to create it from scratch from Report Builder. You just need to find it in your favorites, single click it, it will run and update with your newest sales information. Single click reporting and updating, that's what we call that. Just one click and you're done. One thing to point out, in the favorites area, there's a bunch of icons, administrative icons that you can use and work with up here. And usually they'll all become functional when you click on something. For instance, notice as soon as I did that, all of those become functional. However, one of the ones that I would like to point out is this one here. And that's the icon that allows you to share reports with other users at your organization so that they don't have to create reports from scratch as well. So when you click the icon, it will bring up all of your reports that you have. You can select whatever reports that you want. Let's say I select these three, and you have the option to share the reports with everyone, which means it will give those reports to every other iDig user at your company, or you can handpick people. Say, I'd like to share reports with selected users. And you go ahead and click that button and do that. I think a couple of important things to note is that this saves a ton of time. Becky and David and Gio here wouldn't have to go create this report from scratch because I've already given it to them. It saves them time. But the other thing that this allows is that when you save a report, it guarantees that the report will automatically update. And everyone will have the exact same sales information. Did you need it? Hang on a second, folks. Just bear with me a minute. Hang on. About that, someone really needed to speak with me. All right, getting back to this. Sharing reports, again, I think the thing really to note about sharing reports is that it does save a lot of time, and it doesn't, it guarantees that everybody who you've shared that report with will, when they run it, will get the exact same data. All right, let's close that up. Coming back here to all of our administrative view reports toolbar, we left off here at saving reports. This icon here that looks like a pencil and paper, when you hover over it says edit in Report Builder. So when you're looking to make changes to all of your dimensions and your time periods to your report, what you do is click the edit button, it'll bring the report back to Report Builder where you created it and allow you to make any of those edits and modifications that you need. This icon here is a really neat icon, very powerful icon, because it allows you to create selection sets from the results of your reports. So remember when I created this report, I said, give me these market types. And during that process of choosing these market types, I decided that I would save a selection set that I could use for this dimension sometime in the future. So that's one way to do this. I've used that selection set here in this report, ran the report, and I've got sales reps and accounts and brand level details that resulted. Maybe I want to take and utilize every single account that resulted into this report. You see there's 1,031 rows in this report worth of data and a whole bunch of accounts. I may want to use the accounts that fell into this report for some other purpose, maybe a distribution report, or maybe some like a lost placement report. So how would be the quickest way that I can get a set of all of these accounts that are in this report? Using this icon right here. When you click that, it gives you the 3 different dimension options that are in this report: sales rep, retail account, brand, and asks you, what do you want to create a selection set from? So notice retail account is here, so I select it. Every single one of the retail accounts that are in this report are in this selection set naming window. And here they all are. So I can give this selection set a name, and maybe I call it target accounts June. I'm just making that up. You can name it whatever you want. Target accounts June. I save that selection set. That selection set of accounts will then be available for me to use in any other report that I need to utilize going forward in iDig. So let's just go back. Actually, I'll show that in a minute when we're done talking about all these other icons. I'll come back to show you how to access that selection set. So that's what that icon will do: save selection sets from the results of your data. This icon allows you to graph your data. You can choose dimensions and choose date intervals. So there's the dimensions that are in your report that you've chosen and the 2 time periods that you set up to include in your report. So let's say I want to see sales rep and 2 months, and we view this report. So here is your nice graphical representation of that table of information from which we just came. When you drop your cursor into the pie chart here and move it around, notice it kind of highlights what section you're hovered over. So this is sales rep 313. It highlights it for me. It also will do that when I drop it into the legend over here. Notice I just move my cursor down through the legend. The legend is really nice on your pie chart and your graphical representations of your data because it shows you the percent of business contribution this year and last year for each element of your report. So I've got sales rep 313 this year and last year. Notice this rep contributed 11.5% to the total business in this report this year. Last year they contributed 11.3. So that sales rep is up in terms of total contribution. However, for the time frames that I included, the 5 weeks and the 2 months, looks like the sales rep is trending down this year versus last year. And you can change the view. This is this year's 2 months. This is last year's 2 months. You can show the difference or the percent. Choose what you want, and the graph will update accordingly. We could go back to the table of the report, which I will do in a moment. But I'd like to point out that when you have pie charts of data, or even from the table, which I'll go back to and show in a moment, you can drill down on your information in iDig to get more detail. This allows you to not have to go back to Report Builder and create reports from scratch. So if I wanted to see more information about sales rep 313 here, all I need to do is just single click on that section of the pie chart, and iDig, true to form, will give me drilling options. So will ask me, do you want to see retail accounts for this sales rep, or do you want to go to another report called the sales rep overview? Or if I click on retail accounts, notice that when I hover over it, it says choose a different drill through dimension. When you click that, it will bring up all of the other dimensions that are available to me in iDig that I could potentially drill to. Okay? So all sorts of different ways to drill on the information. Now the sales rep overview reports in iDig have multiple sub-reports that make it up. It's a big report, and it has multiple sub-reports in it. When I click that as the option, notice that I could potentially get any one of the sub-reports and go directly to that report for that sales rep. So So there's all sorts of different ways that you can drill down on your data. So you can drill down from the pie chart, like I just showed you, or let's go back to the table and I'll show you the exact same thing. I picked sales rep 313. Whenever you are in view report and you look at your report and you see text that looks like this particular blue color, and when you hover over it, it underlines it, that means that you can drill down on those elements. So if I click sales rep 313 here, notice I could pick my drilling option. Watch what happens when I click this Lucky 7 grocery store account. I get drilling options for the account. By default, it defaults to brand level detail, or I could go to some other dimension. I could drill to from this account to some other dimension and see that instead. Or I could go to the account overview or one of the sub-reports that is contained within the overview. Brand level detail. This is also drillable. I've got 3 dimensions that I could potentially drill on. Let's drill on brand level detail. Let's drill down to the item level detail for this brand of past. Notice that the whole report focused on 3 brands. I'm saying drill down on items for past. And when we do that, the brand level detail up here in the title bar area will tell me that I'm focused on just one brand. This column that says brand is going to change to item level detail. Brand is now focused on past, and now we're looking at the items for that brand. So folks, you can keep clicking and drilling on these dimensions in iDig as far as it'll let you go. You can keep clicking, drilling, and get to different views of your data. I think the important thing to note is that any time that you drill down into your information, you always have the option to save another view of your report. Save it as you drilled into it, give it a little bit of a different name. It'll save over here in your favorites area, and then when you single click it, it's going to run and open just as you had saved it. And don't forget, you can drill down into your reports and save it, but you can also at any point decide, I want to edit it. I want to edit it and make the time periods different, and you can do that and then save another view. Lots of flexibility on drilling down and getting to different views of your data. Now remember the icon that I skipped over earlier that was grayed out? And notice that now it's green, and when you hover over it, it says go back to parent report. Because I've drilled down into this report, I can now use this icon to drill back up if I need to. And every time you click that icon, if you drill into your report multiple times, it will step you up 1 time each level until you're back to the beginning, and you know you're back at the beginning when this does not do anything any further, and it's grayed out again. So this leads us to the last icon on this report, which is here, and the only reason that you see this icon in the View Reports toolbar is because when I created this report, I chose to show account level detail, like I see here. Account level detail. If account level detail wasn't here, it was just sales reps and brands, this icon wouldn't even appear on the toolbar. What does this icon do? It views accounts in Google Maps. So it's now moved us into the Geo View area of iDig, and it's showing every single one of those accounts on this map. The mapping feature in iDig functions the same as every other Google map on the internet. It utilizes that whole technology. So if you've worked with Google Maps, you're good to go. You can click anywhere on the map, move it around. You can use the zoom tool over here to zoom in or out, or the scroll button on your mouse if you have a mouse. The marker legend down here indicates that accounts that are trending up, down, or staying flat. When you hover over the markers, it tells you the name of the account. If you single click it, it gives you the detail of the time periods that you created for your report. So notice here's my 5 weeks and my 2 months, and it's showing that this particular account of the 3 brands that I selected only bought the highlight one. And this is the sales information for that brand. If I want to, I can double click to drill down on the account. So basically, let's do that. When you drill down, no matter if it's from a graph or a map, iDig is giving you the same drilling options. So let's drill the brand level detail for this store. And when you do that, will go back to the View Reports area. This is the same report that we've been working with. We just found one of the accounts within it. We found it on the map and drilled into it from there, but I could have found this account in my report and drilled into it from the table just like I did from the map. And it's giving me my brand level detail. And notice the green icon here. Go back to parent report. That is a clear indicator that I have drilled down into my main report. So I could either drill back up to it, or I could close the report and return to GeoView and go back to the map and maybe look at the other accounts that you see there. We drill back up here, we'll just bring us back to the original report. So everything that we have done thus far, and I've only been using the comparison report to show this, but really it doesn't matter. All of the tools that I have shown you in the Report Builder setup area and all of the tools here in View Reports are the main tools that you need to work with to navigate and work with your reports. What I'd like to do now is switch over and talk about your dashboard. We'll look a little bit at the dashboard. I'll show you how to use GeoView directly by going into it directly, and we'll also look at the search function, and then I'll see if you guys have any questions. So the dashboard, when you folks go there, if you haven't done so already, your dashboard will be blank until you create reports. I have 4 reports on my dashboard: suppliers, total company, supervisors, and brands. So I've got 4 dashboard reports. This is my toolbar to creating and working with my dashboard reports. First thing I'll point out is you'll notice that your dashboard reports look a little bit different than the Report Builder reports in that you only see one time period at a time. Notice they're kind of short, stocky looking type reports. They fall into this left-hand and right-hand column configuration. This report, for example, I set up was a month-to-date and year-to-date comparison report. I only see month-to-date. However, I can always toggle to the year-to-date option just by selecting it. But the neat thing about the dashboard is that you can dynamically switch to different measures that you may want to look at. You can show through the previous months very quickly if you want to do that. You can graph your reports just like we've already seen today. You can export them, same exporting options as well. So how did these reports get on my dashboard? Utilizing the Add button. When you click Add, you will see a list of dashboard reports that you can add to your dashboard. You'll notice that the list is not as comprehensive as all of the reports that are available in Report Builder. That is because not every single Report Builder report is an eligible dashboard report. Only certain types of reports can be dashboard reports. How do you create these reports? Exactly the same way you do in Report Builder. So I'm not going to actually show creating reports in a dashboard. We're going to just talk more about the dashboard report. So you pick the report, create it in the exact same way as creating a Report Builder report. You can move your reports around. You can share reports. So just like we showed sharing favorites, your favorite reports, you can also share dashboard reports. Again, great time-saving feature. Also make sure that everybody has the same dashboard reports that you want everybody to have, but you have that feature. The Get Shared means that if you've shared with somebody, they need to click Get Shared and find your name with the reports that you've shared with them so that they can actually accept them for their own dashboard. You can print your dashboard reports, and you can also view your reports, meaning view your reports with the time period side by side. So year-to-date, month-to-date is my supplier report. Watch what happens if I click View Reports and say, I want to see my supplier report in View Reports. When I do that, it brings us back to the View Reports area, and it shows my suppliers with month-to-date and year-to-date side by side from the time periods that I have created this report for on my dashboard. So I can close the report and return to dashboard. And there are the 4 dashboard reports. Okay? So you have all of the same options. The icon here does the exact same thing that it does here. This just actually takes the exact report that you're on and takes it to the View main difference between the report builder reports and your dashboard reports is that dashboard reports only show one visible dimension. By visible dimension, I mean these. Remember the report that we started with today? I had 3 visible dimensions: sales rep, retail account, and brands. Here, notice all the dashboard reports just have one: supplier, company, sales rep, brands. You can only show one visible dimension on your dashboard reports. And a reminder that the whole point and key focus of a dashboard is really to give you a kind of a 30,000-foot view of your business every single day. It's your dashboard. It's like what's happening every single day. You create these reports to be very high level, and then you can always drill into the detail. Like click and drill in. So let's see what's going on with the brand level detail here. You can see that we're down year to date. When we drill in, we end up from the dashboard back into the view reports area. When we're here, we can keep drilling in. Looks like lights down. Let's look at what items that may be impacting. There's all the individual items. Okay, let's see what's going on. Maybe it's there's a particular item that's contributing mostly to that. So you can drill to the company level detail, or you can drill down right down to retail accounts and find out what are the accounts that are being affected by this sales. And then you may look at your accounts and go, oh yeah, well one of our biggest buyers of light actually went out of business. So or this particular light package, so they went out of business. So sales are down this year so far. All sorts of different ways to drill into your information. And remember, you can drill back up every level, or you can close the report and return to your dashboard. So here we are back at the dashboard. Folks always ask me, Julie, how many reports can I put on my dashboard? There is no limit to the number of reports that you can add to your dashboard. However, I will say that the more reports you put on your dashboard, the longer it will take your dashboard to load, because it needs to run every single one of those reports. And I would say, really, that I advise people to put 5 to 10 very key high-level reports on their dashboard. You can always drill into the detail, just like I showed you. If you create a lot of dashboard reports with a lot of detail in here, it will take a while to navigate, to run the reports and start to try to navigate through them. Keep them very high level, and then you'll be able to drill into the detail. Also, whatever reports that you create on your dashboard in iDig Web, over the web like we're talking about today, those dashboard reports will then also become available for you to work with in the VIP mobile app on your iPhone that you install from the App Store. VIP Mobile, that's what the name of the app is. If you don't have it, I highly encourage you to get it. It's a free app. You can download it, or install it, I should say, to your phone, and then be able to view any dashboard reports that you have saved. And you can tap and drill into them and look at different views of them as well on your phone. Okay, that takes us to GeoView, the fourth main tool to iDig. And I kind of like GeoView. It's kind of a fun tool. You saw it earlier. Remember when I had the report that we were originally working with, and there was that icon that allowed me to view those accounts in the Google Maps, and I clicked it and it brought us to GeoView? That's one way to look and use this tool. But the other way is just by clicking it directly. There are some defaults that the tool uses. There are 3 defaults. The first of which is that it takes you to brand level detail. So it asks you to filter your report to brand level information. You can pick a single brand or multiple brands. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to choose the brand of Corona. The second and third default is that it uses the time period of current 3 months, and then it will give you any accounts that have bought the brand or brands that you've chosen within the current 3 months within a 1-mile walking distance radius. So that's the location default. 1-mile walking distance radius of whatever location you choose. If any of you have iPads and you're running iDig using the Safari browser on your iPad and you have location services turned on your device, you click current location, iDig will give you any account within a 1-mile walking distance radius that bought the brand that you chose in the current 3 months from wherever you're standing, 1-mile walking distance radius. Because all this data is all over the place. I'm just going to enter a zip code and show you how you can use this feature as well. You can either enter a city name or zip code, and when you do that, notice that I have a bunch of markers here on my map. You'll also notice that up at the top here, you have a whole bunch of different icons or tabs that you can customize the view of what you're looking for. So this is every single account that bought Corona within a 1 mile walking distance radius of that zip code that I entered, and they bought within the current 3 months. I could say, show me only my on-premise account, and it's going to leave me with only those markers. Show me only my off-premise account. Show me all of my counts, but only show me volume down, or only volume up, or all accounts. How about show me any accounts that I've lost in this area that are no longer purchasing Corona. I click the lost button here, and it looks like I've got 3 accounts, 3 different accounts. I can click the list here and get a list of those accounts and very clearly see all of them at once. They did not buy in the current 90 days, but they did buy in the previous 90, so these are considered lost. And I may be able to affect a change there and talk to these accounts about getting placement of this product back in there. I can go back to my map. I can show my all volume. I'm just literally just clicking these different icons to see different views of the information. I could expand to a driving distance of 5 miles if I wanted to. I can change the brand, maybe add another brand or change the brand completely and keep the same area, or I could change the area and say, I want to see Corona, but in a totally different area. All sorts of different ways that you can look at your information. And I like GeoView because it's kind of neat, it's fun to play with, but it also is very visual. I tend to be a visual person, and I can see what's going on with my accounts out in the marketplace. We've got a lot of folks now running iDig on an iPad, and they're able to bring up information like this and be able to walk up the street and start talking to the accounts about their sales information. So that's a little bit about the GeoView tool. The last thing that we'll talk about is the search function. And again, this is a quick way to get month-to-date and year-to-date sales for some aspect of your business. So let's say I'm looking for the chain of Applebee's. I'm just going to type in the word Apple and search. So iDig is searching my entire database for the word Apple. Here are some product level information. So notice there's a bunch of brands, actually 9 brands with the word Apple, 22 items with the word Apple in it. There's a couple of chains and a whole bunch of retail accounts. In particularly, I'm after the chain of Applebee's. When I click Applebee's, true to iDig form, it's giving me drilling options. What do I want to see? So let's actually show the retail accounts here. And I'm going to go ahead and view it. Notice that we automatically get month-to-date and year-to-date sales information. We are in the View Reports area. I'm looking at the chain of Applebee's by retail account. I may decide, okay, month-to-date, year-to-date information is great, but I would really like to see for these accounts, for this chain, a rolling 12-month trend, month by month. Now the comparison report gives me chunks of time this year versus last year, but I want to see a period of time broken out by month. The neat thing here is that I could edit this report, which will bring it back to Report Builder, and right from the Report Builder area, I can click the title of this report to change this report and make it some other type of report. What it will do is hold the dimensions that I already have in this report, but it will allow me to create the setup, the time period area of a different type of report. And in particularly, I am looking to create a rolling periods report from this comparison report. So I click rolling periods, and notice that iDig automatically pops me into the setup time period area of a rolling period report. It defaults to 3 months, and it breaks out each one of those individual months, and then it gives a total for the 3 months combined compared to last year's 3 months with a difference in trend. But I'm interested in seeing 12 months. 12-month range. Notice that it kept chain of Applebee's and it's showing the retail account dimensions that I want. All I need to do is set up the time period for the rolling periods report. Additionally, I could add other dimensions. Maybe I want to see brand level detail by each one of the retail accounts, broken out by month. So when we view the report, that's exactly what I will get. The retail accounts broken out by brand. And as I scroll down, I will then skip to the next account, broken out by brand, etc. as I go through my 296 row report or 6-page report. Each individual month broken out by brand, by retail account. So I could save this report, Applebee's rolling 12 trend. And maybe I put this into a folder that I already have, maybe my chain reports, and save it. I was able to create this report all by simply starting at the search function. And first I got month-to-date and year-to-date information, but then I decided to make this a totally different report, a rolling periods report instead. So here is my favorite report, ready to go, single-click reporting and updating at any point in time in the future. Okay, so let me say a few words in recap, and then I will ask if you guys have any questions. So everything that we have done here today, creating the reports from Report Builder. When we create them and run them, the report opens in the View Reports area. When you're working with your dashboard reports and you decide to either view the reports or drill into the reports on your dashboard, when you do that, the report opens in the View Reports area. When we're in GeoView and you drill down on an account, you double-click to drill down into the account, it opens that account information in the View Reports area. When we were just searching on the chain of Applebee's, the thing that we just covered, when I clicked on the chain of Applebee's and drilled into it, it opened in the View Reports area. So you could say that the View Reports area is pretty much the mainstay of this application, in that once you have a report open here, you have all sorts of administrative tasks that you can then perform on your reports. And to recap, those include printing, emailing, mapping, graphing, saving, editing, drilling down. All of those things happen in this View Reports area. The other thing that I want to mention is probably the most effective way to become proficient in using iDig is to really get in and start using it. Click on things, try things. Don't be afraid. You will not break the application. If anything, you might get a message that says, you need to filter to something, or iDig will give you a pop-up that's guiding you in some sort of direction. But you will not break the application. And most importantly is you will not change the data on your source route accounting system. Some folks think if they mess around in here that where iDig gets this information from will change. That's not true. There is a main database, your source route accounting system, that we pull the information into this interface so that you can run reports on it, but it doesn't allow you to make changes back. So you do not need to worry about that. So go ahead, click things, try things, become familiar with it. You'll learn a lot just about how iDig functions by doing that. So let me see if there are any questions that you guys may have. A reminder, if you have your phone on mute, you can either take the phone off to ask me the question, or you can type in the chat window area of the GoToMeeting as well if you prefer to do that. So just those couple of options. Any questions? Any questions from anybody? You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. you have.
Julie, when are those beta parts coming up are going to be available for everybody?
The what?
The beta that's on your screen, when are they going to be available?
Which one?
The pallet moves, all the beta ones.